To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to the Talk About the Magic podcast, where you'll find inspiration and encouragement tied together with the magic of Disney. Now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
What is going on, Magic Cheers? Welcome to another edition of Talk About the Magic. You are listening to this hopefully on Sunday. If not, it might be a different day. But don't feel bad about that because it's kind of my fault. You see, the podcast didn't come out on time, in case you're not aware. It did not come up in the morning. I usually have it set up to release at 6:30 a.m. my time. And it didn't do that this time. And that's because I've been pretty feeling overwhelmed, I guess would be the word. So you guys know what this show is all about. If it's your first time here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. But it's all about hopefully inspiring and motivating you to get to that next level. Using the stories from other people who are actually pursuing their own goals and dreams. And of course, we tie it all with some of the Disney magic. If no other reason, this is also for me. I love getting inspired and listening to these stories. It motivates me, encourages me, and it's a pick me up to remind me that, hey, you need to do it, right? Like, you have an idea, you have a vision of what you want to do, you need to do it. And so these past couple weeks, I've been working on something. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I found out I was going to be able to be getting potentially a shirt press. And this was something that I had been wanting, but at the time, whatever, I just hadn't saved enough money yet. I was putting some money aside to save, but I hadn't. And I found I was able to, I was going to be getting the opportunity of having this, for me. So I was pretty excited about that, pretty pumped up. But I wasn't 100% sure it was going to happen. That's why I really didn't say anything. I didn't really, promote or anything like that because I wasn't sure. But recently, I was able to get it. And the past, and when I found out I was able, when there was a chance I was going to get this to now, I had just been researching. So much so that I was extremely confident that I knew exactly what I was getting into, and I knew exactly what I was going to do and how I was going to make sure that I was successful at it. And as you do know, if you are a listener of the show, that usually is not the case for the most part. That does not actually happen. You might think you are prepared, but as prepared as you might think you are, you really aren't. I mean, it's the way it is, it seems. So I had reached out to some wonderful people who've been on the show. Walt's Wardrobe, he unbelievably kind, was giving me some fantastic advice. That recently, congratulations, guys, they did get married, and really excited for them. But, so obviously I couldn't really bug them anymore. I knew they were getting married. I had to kind of lay off. I also had some insane, amazing help from Dominica, from the account here on Instagram, at But First Disney. She was a true godsend of explaining some of the insane details and issues that I had with doing this. So let me kind of go back a little bit. Like I said, we have an idea that, what we're trying to do is easily going to be done. We kind of get the feeling that, as difficult as this may seem, I've done my time, I've done what I'm supposed to do, this is going to be a cinch. And, I was, like I said, pretty confident. So I ended up getting everything. I bought some material to start practicing on. And it was pretty infuriating, to say the least. I was let me tell you how I am. Maybe you're like this. I don't really get upset. I don't really get angry. I mean, you can call me names, you can to a point, right? But you can say things about me, whatever. Like, it doesn't really faze me. But nothing seems to frustrate me more and get me angry as much as things not working the way they're supposed to. For instance, it's terrible. I'm not saying that I approve of what I'm about to tell you, but if I buy a brand new computer and I put that computer on power and I sit there and I see nothing's happening and I keep pushing the power button. I keep pushing the power button. I keep pushing the power button. Nothing is happening. I will get pretty upset. I get pretty angry at the situation. You know, I'm not over here like screaming and yelling at people. It's just more like I'm inside. I'm getting, upset. And it's probably that attitude that ends up making me not, do something simple as read the instructions and realize there's a flip you got to switch before you turn on the computer for it to work, And so I'm seems to be that kind of person. So like I said, I've gotten everything. I feel extremely confident. I know exactly what I'm going to do. It seems very easy, very, doable. Oh, and this seems to make it worse when the people that I'm reading, when the people I'm watching on YouTube or I'm reading online about, and, they'll say something like, so when you're doing these shirts, it's very easy. You don't, overcomplicate it. As you can see, I did this in about 3 minutes. It's one of the easiest things you could probably do. Anyone can do it. Truly, anybody can do it. The one guy on one of the videos, he said, this was like, 4 years ago, this video was done. So, he did an update where his son is like really killing it now. But anyway, he says, my 10-year-old son is doing this right now, just selling shirts to his friends. I mean, he's making about, how much you making? Oh, about 150 a week, Dad. About 150 a week my son's make. So I'm like, okay, when, this 10-year-old little kid gets this and I'm doing it and everything is going wrong, right? Like the way it looks is ugly, the cutting of the material is all jacked up. I'm putting the press on, I'm putting, the material onto the shirt and it's coming up all ugly and dingy and like it just, it just took me to another level, but not of a good level. I wasn't happy. I was extremely frustrated, extremely, woe is me. My life is not fair and down, and especially because it's not like there was necessarily anyone here who understood what was going through. My wife is a nurse. She's not really thinking about my shirt. She's just at work. My kids are right now playing, Hyrule Warriors on Wii U. They're not really caring about what's going on. My dog, I'm sure he would care. He's a nice dog, but he just doesn't understand English for some reason. He doesn't, he just doesn't say the words. So I feel like I'm alone. And if it wasn't for people, if it wasn't, for Walt's Wardrobe but first Disney, I don't know where I'd be. I mean, it was amazing that they were, kind enough that when I reached out, they reached back to me. And it's not like to be fair, I didn't reach out to everyone on my account, but it was pretty amazing that they were kind enough to do that for me. So I was pretty upset. Back to my story here. I was pretty upset. I was confused. I felt frustrated. I felt like it wasn't fair. This wasn't supposed to be happening. The guy said a 10-year-old kid could do it. I'm not 10. I seem to know what I'm doing. I've done the research. I've done the work. I did the research and studying and everything. And why isn't this working out? And there was probably 2 different points where I really just felt like I'm gonna give up. This is ridiculous. Because my biggest frustration was coming true, which was the thing that is supposed to work the way I think it's supposed to work, how easy it's supposed to be, is not happening. And that was taking me over the edge. That was really making me upset because I just felt like it's not fair to me. Everybody else gets it right away. Everybody else just simply plugged it in and started making $150 a week. Everybody else started, following their own passion, dream, and were creating these amazing shirts as soon as they got their machine and as soon as they got their software. Everything was done for them. It was perfect. Why isn't it working for me? And of course, I fell into the trap that we talk a lot about on the show, which shame on me. We talk a lot about on the show, which is everybody starts from zero. Everybody starts from a time when they necessarily are having to figure it out. There's frustrations. There's not getting it right the first time. With Main Street Press, if you check out that episode, like they were saying, when they were so pumped up when they started their business, they put up their first shirts and then, they were like, oh, we're going to start, selling and everything. And then, they checked, next day, a couple of days, and all of a sudden they realize we have not sold one shirt, and it panics, it gets you frustrated. And even though I technically knew all this because we've had these wonderful guests on the show, I fell for the same trap. I fell for the same idea, which was I'm supposed to get it right the first time and be successful at whatever I'm doing the first time because I feel like I did everything I was supposed to do to guarantee me success. And if there's one thing we can take away from this show that we do on Sunday is that success is pretty much the one thing that is not guaranteed, especially immediately. Just because you do what you think you're supposed to do, just because you reach for the things you're supposed to reach for, just because you do your homework the way you think you're supposed to do your homework, that does not guarantee immediate success. It definitely guarantees the chance, a much better chance of having that success, but it does not guarantee immediate success. And so, I'm in this little weird thing, I'm going this weird little transition where I feel like I want to quit because I say this is too much for no result. I did all this homework. I've spent so much money on materials that I've just literally now gone to waste because it didn't work the way it was supposed to. But I did everything I was supposed to do. I've had this vision. I've had this passion. I've had this wanting to do. I had an opportunity, so I took advantage of it. I did my homework. I didn't just go in there blindly. I did almost a month's worth of homework of literally on the day, every day. I subscribed to YouTube, to the YouTube Red, just to avoid ads and to download videos, so that way I could watch and listen to as many videos as I could. I mean, my playlist right now on my downloaded videos, I think is like up to 30, where it's just repeated over and over different, videos of this is how you do this. This is what you want to do if you're going to do this. And so like I did the work. I felt so betrayed, so angry, so like this is not fair because I did what I was supposed to do. And I'm not getting success. And so I felt like I wanted to quit. I just felt like there's nothing wrong with admitting I might have went a little too steep here. Let's just go ahead and return everything. Thank you for the opportunity. Didn't work out for me. I'm going to go kind of look for something else. And, I started thinking, like you said, about the show. I started thinking about different guests we've had. I started thinking about, of course, my own role models, my own life, my own personal family, my mom and my dad who started their own businesses, who did what they did. And it kind of hit me that I realized the number one way to succeed, if you want to quick succeed, if you want to succeed at something 100% guaranteed, it's quitting. And what I mean by that is you will succeed at quitting. If you want to quit and you quit, you will succeed at doing that. But the only way to truly be happy in your attempt to succeeding in a more prosperous way is to understand that quitting is the one thing that you cannot do. It's off the table. Because when you eliminate the idea of quitting, once I got that out of my head, like it's not going to happen. I'm not going to quit. This is something I'm going to do. My mentality changed. I kind of realized I could take a little more time here. I don't need to get it done in one day. I don't need to be successful by, 6 o'clock tonight. I can work on this. I can get better at this. There is no reason for me to feel like I have to quit. And once my mentality changed and I took that off the table, I started looking at these videos again. I started reaching out and really getting, really some amazing detailed help from Dominica and understanding how certain things worked and why they weren't working when I was doing it, when other people looked like it was working for them. And I started realizing, number one, that the mistakes that were being made was not the machine's fault, was not the material fault. It was 100% my fault. So, for example, I spent about $50 worth of stuff, of buying equipment. Not equipment, but like buying different materials. And I came home so excited. I put it on my machine to cut. And oh my gosh, it must have been maybe 4 or 5 hours of just frustration, anger. Nothing was cutting right. Nothing was was coming up right, and like I was so angry. I didn't understand what was going on. This was supposed to be easy, and I realized now, after that situation, and I stepped back and I started looking at what the problems were, I just bought the wrong material. As much knowledge as I knew, as much confidence I had I knew exactly what I was doing, I bought the wrong material. That was my fault. I did not pay attention. I apparently didn't know everything like I thought I did. And there was one small detail that I needed to know when it came to purchasing these items, and I did not follow through with that. And because of that, it ended up that the material I bought was not good. It was not meant for it. So that was the reason why basically I kept having this situation that when I would try to do something, basically it didn't work. And it kept tearing it apart. And I wasted that money, but again, that was my fault. So it was a lot of things like that. When I would look back and I realized, oh, well, this is what happened. This is what happened. Oh, this is what, and they were all coming back to my fault. So at that point of wanting to quit, like I said, once I took the quitting off the table, it changed. It helped me to relax. It helped me to understand I can succeed at this. I need to learn that I need to be patient. I need to learn that I can achieve what I'm trying to achieve with just a little bit of time and practice. And I told myself, by this time, turn it off. No ifs, ands, or buts. Whether you have succeeded at what you're trying to do or not, you turn it off. And every night, basically I would turn it off. Because I wasn't, it was that time, and I said, okay, I didn't do so good today. It's okay. We'll try again tomorrow. So I say all this because this has been keeping me pretty busy for the past about week and a half. And what's funny too is I had been trying this over and over, and not until I reached out to Dominica where I said, like, look, this is happening. I'm frustrated. This is, very angering. And she was able to give me some amazing help that actually gave me enough confidence to do what I'm going to do today. But like I said, I was pretty on the fence about what to do and about quitting. But I really wanted this, and that's why, like I said, once I realized I cannot quit on something because it's not going the way I thought right away, it really changed. And that's why I'm telling you this, because as much as you hear this show, there may be times when you are trying to do something and for some reason you forget that that's not necessarily guaranteed it's going to happen right away. You might forget that it's not guaranteed that research that you did, the knowledge that you gain, guarantees same day success. And in those times when you forget that, please remember what I'm telling you now. Remember what I'm telling you, right now with these little words. Before you quit, take quitting off the table and see what happens. See how you feel. See if it's still going the way see that it's still failing. See that it still needs to be removed from your life, whether it does or not, before you just quit because you get frustrated. So, like I said, I've been pretty busy working on this, getting out the details, and I'm excited. Now, this is a different kind of show. This isn't, a guest. We have a guest next week. Can't wait to share his story with you. Really excited. But I'm excited because this Wednesday, I'm saying thanks, like I said, confidently thanks to the wonderful people who have helped me. But this Wednesday, I've put it down. I'll be opening up the Talk About the Magic shop, and I will have some shirts there to sell. These shirts are going to be handmade by me. I got 2 different ones, and just to start off, 2 designs. And I would obviously love you guys to check out the shirts. My goal is, these first 2 designs have been just in my head since like pretty much last year. And then, actually, one of them has been in my head pretty much since last year when we saw this at the sci-fi dinner. And then the more recent one is just because of the show that we saw, the latest show of Happily Ever After. That's what really inspired me for that other design. But obviously, I'd really love you guys to just check it out. And, whether you like the shirts or you don't, just understand that it's happening, right? Like, understand that you can do this. Whatever goal or dream that you have, you can do this. As frustrating as it can be at times, as angry as it could be at times, you can do it. And not to say like it's smooth sailing for me. I'm not saying like I got it all down. That's why I'm nervous about saying Wednesday. But you know what? I'm pulling a Walt Disney. I'm saying it's going to happen by this day. And it's going to happen by this day. I'm not concerned about what could happen in between. I'm not concerned about what actually happens on that day. I'm saying today it's going to happen by this day. And I'm putting this out there. I'm saying it out loud because I truly believe setting that goal, setting that kind of deadline really is, for me at least personally, really motivates me to say it has to be done. It has to be done. And so that's why. But I want you guys to hopefully check this out. Like I said, and whether you get it or not, it's just to say, okay, he's doing it. Joseph's doing it. He's done the show. He's talked a lot, and his website is changing. Like I said, I changed it to now being more news oriented with Disney, but that's just because I personally like to send out news and stuff about Disney. But you could say like, okay, look, he's done his podcast, he did YouTube, and but he's doing this now, and he's doing it. They're there. These two things are factual. You guys have been listening to me talk for the past year, maybe year and a half, depending how long you've been a part of the show, maybe 2 years. I'm moving. I'm doing this. And I'm saying this because I wanted to hopefully encourage you and inspire you to just get up and start moving to your goal as well. So these shirts, like I said, will go on sale Wednesday. Of course, I will put all the information in all of my social media feeds. But the idea is you should be able to go just to talkaboutthemagic.com/shop. That will take you to the Etsy page, or if not, it should be plugged in even to my site, showing the two different designs. And like I said, I just want, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing if you guys could check it out, just to let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm not here, you want to buy shirts, that'd be awesome too. But I'm not telling you just to go and buy, but also just to look and just give me some feedback, give me some opinions, what you think, whether you like or you don't. And just also though, just take it to heart to understand, like, okay, Joseph's taking that step. He's not just a guy interviewing people. He's also now in the water. And I'm saying to you right now, guys, the water was rough in the beginning. It was scary in the beginning. And honestly, I'm barely wading in. I'm not even all the way, technically where it gets even deeper. But I'm hoping that this will help you to get to your next level. I'm hoping this will get you to stop standing on the sides, stop putting your toe in and saying it's too cold and walking away. I'm hoping this is going to get you to jump in. Start doing your homework. Start figuring out what it is that you need to get you closer to that goal that you want to achieve. And then start working toward it. Whether it brings, frustration or anger or confusion, like that is terrible feeling. I'm not saying those feelings aren't terrible. They're terrible feelings, but they're things that you need to understand that it's going to come along with no matter what, with anything you do that you're trying to better yourself with. You don't see athletes who are training their bodies for Olympics like smiling. They're gritting in pain because of all the work they're putting themselves through. Like anything that you want is always going to take work, and that can involve frustration, anger, that can involve confusion, that can involve, sometimes even regret, where you're wanting to quit. You need to push that aside and say, if I'm going to do this, let me give it a fair shot. Let me put 100%. Let me pass all of this kind of negativity, all of this kind of doubt, this fear. Let me push that all to the side. Keep going forward. Let me see what will happen. Let me see if I'm able to accomplish this. And if I can, then awesome. This was a wonderful thing I've done. And if I can't, if something happens that it truly is out of my hands, then at least I learned how to push past all of these little barriers for my next goal, for my next dream, for my next idea. I'm ready to go. That's what it's about. And so, Wednesday, I keep getting nervous every time I say it. Wednesday, shop will be open. I'm going to have 2 shirts. I will eventually be putting up more. I really want to do kind of like a positivity phrase line, just to kind of go hand in hand with the podcast, because of course the podcast, we do focus on that encouragement and inspiration. So that's kind of the next step for the shirts. These 2 shirts are going to be more Disney oriented. Hopefully you guys do like it. Hopefully you guys do. I do encourage you to, if you know people who are going to Disney or want to wear some shirts, please be sure to mention this to them. I'm putting all my cards in here. I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing the website. This is my next big step, and I'm all in. I'm not taking any kind of, small leaps here. I'm all in. I'm jumping. I've jumped. It's happening. I'm all in, and I'm excited. And while it's pretty nerve-wracking here talking to you about this, it's also very exciting. And I cannot wait for what's going to happen in the future. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. Like I said, I understand it did come out later today, but I'm just glad I was able to get it out, and I'm glad you guys were able to listen. Be sure to check out next week's show, of course, because we will have an awesome guest. It's definitely a first here for the show, so I'm really excited for that. Have a great night, day, weekend, whenever you're listening to this, and as always, stay magical.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay magical.